Welcome bitches, one and all, to my reaction to Season 1, Episode 5 of the original, Sinners and Saints. So last time we ended with Hayley waking up to find that all of her attackers had been murdered by presumably the same wolf that we've been seeing out and about these past few episodes, so excited to find out more about that. Now, we also did have some more development for Davina, where Klaus sort of started turning her head away from Marcel and more towards him and being on his side, which coupled up with the fact that Elijah is now awake and is going to be talking to Davina, we may be seeing a switching of sides for her. But yes, anyway, with all that said, very excited to get into it and see how the story goes. So without further ado, let's go.
You're the one they call honorable.
Ugh.
You don't look well.
Well, only this morning I had a mystical dagger embedded in my chest, so I'd say I'm holding myself together quite well.
God, I've missed you.
And why should I trust you?
Well, for one thing, in spite of a ravenous hunger, I have not tried to take your blood.
Why not? I'm the only one here.
Even in my present condition, I would not feed from a child.
Ah. You cheeky bitch. You are playing a dangerous game here, Davina. Damn, even one drop did the trick. That's a good point about Elijah's character, though, that he wouldn't feed from a child, because I've never really thought about having a moral compass that says you shouldn't feed from a child. You know what I mean?
Well, how, may I ask, was this particular vision interpreted?
Pretty much that your baby would bring death to all witches.
Huh?
I grow fonder of this child by the second.
Why don't you tell me just how extreme this faction is? Elijah's talking to Davina. I'm guessing she'll have plenty to say about that crowd.
Oh. Are they responsible for why she is with Marcel?
Can we go someplace to talk? Just tell me.
Interesting.
The elders called a vote. We're moving forward with the harvest.
What's the harvest?
It's a ritual our coven does every 3 centuries so that the bond to our ancestral magic is restored.
Why haven't I heard of this?
Because the harvest always seemed like a myth, a story passed down through generations, like...
I was going to say, it's one of those things where it's like, if it's only every 300 years, it's not really going to be a big thing because it would never happen in your lifetime until you get to the generation where it is going to happen in your lifetime, you know?
To be reborn, we must sacrifice.
Sacrifice? Excuse me?
Not for a second.
Sophie,
Monique? Seriously?
my mom told me I had to.
Yeah. Well, your mom and I are gonna have words.
Ah. I'm getting bad vibes from this. We're dealing with an extremist faction of witches who are going to perform the harvest to link with their ancestors, who we all know the ancestors are dead. And this bitch just talked about sacrifice and having faith. Did they try and sacrifice these girls? Is that what's going on here? Because it seems as though... What's her name? I didn't catch it. One sec. Monique. Okay, so it seems like Monique is Sophie's niece, but we haven't met Monique before. So was Monique sacrificed? And maybe Davina was like the last one to be sacrificed and she ran away and that's why she's so against the witches. But a few problems with that idea is that why would Sophie be so involved with the witch community now if they were responsible for her niece's death? I suppose if we're talking about an extremist faction, then the majority of the witches in the quarter wouldn't be to blame. But yeah, I don't understand why this event would have caused Sophie to suddenly get in touch with her ancestral roots in terms of being a witch and everything.
They said that it was an honor, that they were special. I thought it was a myth.
Was it?
Said it was an honor, that it was special. This very much reads like extremist spirituality sacrificing, you know?
Dead witches in the bayou. Sounds like less of a problem and more like a cause for celebration.
Well, something killed him, and may still be out there. And with your blood the only cure for a werewolf bite, I would love for you to accompany me.
I was wondering why you wanted Klaus to go with him. Okay.
This is the one.
You can't go out there now. I need to gather the
Wait,
witches.
is that their house? Is that Klaus's house that he's in right now? It looks very similar to their house.
I have been hearing about what you've been up to since I've been out of town. Using that girl to keep the witches from doing magic?
All respect, Father K. If you're gonna defend the witches' rights, we got nothing to talk about.
What is going on with this Father K? He knows about witches and everything, but he seems to be human. So what the fuck is going on? Oh shit, Marcel's about to come upstairs. Uh-oh.
How's our original?
Don't disturb the body. I have a spell in progress.
Pack up, okay? Only what you want to take. I'll buy you anything else you need.
Damn. Interesting that Davina agreed to hiding Elijah then, though, because that would imply that she is hiding things from Marcel.
You didn't reveal that I was awake.
We're not done talking yet.
Nice to know that she's not just taking his side immediately. She wants to hear both sides.
They deserve it. They made me and my friends do this harvest ritual. They said our participation would bring our family strength, but all they really wanted was more power.
Oof.
So I left before they could get it. Now they're running out of time, because after the harvest comes the reaping. And if they don't complete the harvest, there won't be a reaping. Soon, all the witches in the quarter will start to lose their power.
Wow.
So what does it take to complete this ritual?
I have to die.
I thought so. I thought so. When they were talking about like an extremist group and talking about the fact that they want to strengthen their magic with their ancestors, you know, the ones who are dead, it would make sense that they would do a sacrifice to get there. Okay, so what? The other three were sacrificed and then it got to Davina and she somehow got away? Because we haven't seen this Monique, and I feel like Sophie and at least Jane Ann in episode 1 would have mentioned that Monique is out there. So I think it's safe to say that she unfortunately was sacrificed.
Your sister's the one that told me Marcel ran the werewolves out of the quarter into the bayou, and last night, pretty sure that some guardian angel wolf saved my life. So I'm coming with you.
Could you two be more idiotic?
Rebecca.
Order up a few rounds of moonshine and steer clear of the dead witches for a few. The witch is on a burial mission. Your baby mama is on a spirit quest. And
Spirit quest.
stall, please.
I love that. She's on a spirit quest.
Well, I suppose it will give us a chance to talk things over. Like why you haven't returned Elijah.
I was gonna say, I wonder why Klaus hasn't brought this up to Marcel yet, because he said he was gonna return him.
How did you meet her?
This was 8 months ago, before I banned the witches from using magic.
Who was Marcel getting with? Is that Sophie?
It's so screwed up. I'm dealing with whacked out militant witches.
Hey, you witches all got a little crazy in you.
I'm sorry, I have to pause and process this. He had a relationship with Sophie? What the fuck? How the fuck did this come about?
You torture those witches, and yet there you were getting positively Romeo and Juliet with Sophie Devereaux.
Oh, it wasn't like that. It was a mutually satisfying hookup.
Mm-hmm.
The vampires and the human faction have an arrangement just like we have with you all. Protect the locals, protect our homes. We look the other way. What you are planning goes too far.
Okay, interesting. So what? So everyone basically knows about witches and vampires here. Like, all the locals know about witches and vampires. It's kind of like a deal of leave the locals alone, hunt the tourists, prey on the tourists, but don't touch us, and we won't say anything about you. That's such an interesting arrangement that they have. It's like 3 factions who have very heightened emotions towards each other are like skimming the line of being okay with each other. It's like, if you do these very specific things, then we will not harm you. But the second someone oversteps a little bit, you are fucked. That's such a temperamental relationship. Jesus Christ.
Do you really want to face Marcel without me? Because that is what you'll be dealing with if you go through with the harvest.
Everything okay in your Uncle Kieran?
We were just finishing, Sean.
Sean.
We'll take this matter to the elders.
Few things to note. Sean, let me look this up quickly because I meant to remember the name, but I don't remember the name of Thingy's brother. Sean, okay, yeah, okay. So that is Cammy's twin brother. So, you know this whole massacre with the, I don't know what you call them, the massacre at this church. I thought it was a while ago. I thought we're talking like at least 5 years ago. But this was only 8 months ago and it hasn't happened yet. So what happened then? Did the witches retaliate and do something that caused this guy to go on a murder spree? Or was it a vampire compulsion? Like, this is all getting so much more complicated. And also the fact that this guy is his uncle. So that also means that this guy is Cammy's uncle as well.
Continue your studies, Sean. Your uncle is an excellent role model.
Sophie tells me that the witches put a hex on his nephew Sean. Made it seem like he was slowly losing his mind in order to distract Kieran, while they kept planning for the harvest.
Wow. You cheeky fuckers.
They said that he had a twin sister.
Sorry, I'm just still processing that because I thought that it would be like a revelation at some point. I didn't expect them to reveal it that quickly that it was the witches. Wow.
I never got as far as the limbo part, which means the harvest is incomplete. That's why the witches are so freaked out. All I have to do is wait it out, and I'm free.
From Marcel.
From
Magic.
everything.
All our power will drain away.
She doesn't even want it.
I can't control it sometimes. The magic. I hurt people, even when I don't mean to.
Oh yeah, because she thinks that she hurt Thingy last episode. Okay.
The only one who ever spoke out against the harvest was Monique's aunt.
And who is that?
Sophie Devereaux.
Sophie Devereaux.
Elijah, same. Putting all these pieces together has been like brain melting.
Is that a wolf track?
Huh?
Who's there?
What the hell?
Is that Marcel's guy?
Let me understand this. Against all logic, you and Haley went to the bayou where you ran into a man you think may be Marcel's informant, and then you lost him.
Skinny guy in a hurry. Looks like he saw a ghost.
I'll handle it. I'll need a distraction.
I'm on my way.
So how did it begin?
We were let out like princesses. My mother was so proud.
We beseech them, accept this offering as a sign of our faith.
Accept this offering as the sign of our faith. Wow.
For weeks they told us that the magic in the knife they used to cut our palms would put us to sleep, and that later at the reaping, we would all be resurrected. All that was left was a little cut on our palms for the blood sacrifice.
Only they went a lot further than cutting your palms, I assume. Fucking hell.
Everyone involved in the ritual knew that this would happen.
Except the four of us. I begged for someone to help. My own mother turned away from me.
Wow.
Yet you survived.
Did she
Therefore,
run?
someone or something intervened.
Someone finally did.
Ah, Marcel and that. Okay.
After his nephew's massacre in the church, he was so torn up. He left town just before the harvest. But on his way out, he came to me and he asked me to stop the harvest. I did what he asked, but I was too late.
Wow. Oh my god. So Davina was literally the last one left then?
There was something about seeing Davina fight. She didn't just go along to the slaughter, you know?
I do, Marcellus.
I was gonna say, links back to his past. Oh, bless her. But the fact that we didn't even know she existed until now.
Every girl who died released her power onto the next. When I was the last one, I suddenly had all of it.
Ah.
How do I know they weren't lying to us about coming back?
That's a good point. That actually does explain a lot of things then. Because that's why Jane Ann was so wanting Klaus back here, so that they could probably get Davina away, sacrifice Davina so that she could get her daughter back. And that's the same reason as to why Sophie is going along with it as well, because she wants Monique back. Okay. But she does have a good point. Like, if they were lying to them about how they were being killed, who's to say that they would come back? It's very, like, it makes sense to sacrifice 4 of them and that strengthen their magical bond. Who says that they have to come back after that? The coming back is almost the part that doesn't make sense, you know? So, kind of on Davina's side with that one.
I haven't seen him this slushy since the 20s.
So you came to take him home?
Why else would I be here?
Maybe to make sure I didn't get too drunk and spill secrets better left unspilled about you and me.
Huh? What secrets? Did she do something in the past?
Heard they were going after some pregnant werewolf. She was stupid being out there all alone.
Yeah, she was, wasn't she? Yes. It's amazing how gullible some people can be.
Wow. He didn't fully kill him though.
My mother was a very powerful witch. She left behind her grimoire as a legacy of books filled with spells. These books contain all of the tools that you might need to control your magic. This is not manipulation. This is one thing in exchange for another. I'm offering you a deal.
I'm sorry, like, there's something about Elijah that is so fucking attractive, and I don't know, it's like the way he talks is charming the right word? I feel like charming is a good description of how he comes across. But moving on from me being attracted to him, it's also there's something about his character with how noble he is and how he has a way of phrasing things that really makes you want to be on his side, that really makes you want to do what he's talking about, which is a scary gift to have. It's something that would easily allow you to manipulate people, but even then he doesn't. He is that person. He is honorable and he does stick to his word. It just says so much about his character. I love him.
It was fast work, Rebecca. Where's Marcel? In there touching up his lipstick.
Where'd he go?
He didn't tell you he was leaving.
No.
Uh-oh.
Unless he was stalling us.
Okay, now's our shot. We'll leave Elijah behind as a parting gift. Might buy me a little forgiveness for pulling one over on his siblings.
So Davina is going with him.
What's wrong?
I don't know. Something's wrong. Take me back.
Damn it.
Interesting. I assume this is all part of their plan. Okay, so the plan was to simply allow Davina to stay in that room. So Klaus isn't going to be happy that you were stalling him. I suppose he could kind of play it off that he wasn't because nothing happened. You know what I mean? Like, as far as Klaus knows, nothing happened, so he wasn't actually stalling them. But if Elijah does get freed, then yikes. The way she just immediately opened her eyes.
You know what I really want? I want to make them pay.
Ah, so it was her idea that started this. Okay. Understandable with what they did to her.
You know, difficulties aside, I value my family above everything. I am sorry that yours failed you.
Your brother Klaus handed you to Marcel in a box, yet you still don't give up on him.
Well, I've given up on giving up.
You were supposed to get her out of New Orleans after the harvest. We failed those other 3 girls. We didn't fail her. That is why I came to you for help. That was the plan.
Plans change.
Especially after you found out how powerful she was.
Ooh, I wouldn't test him, mate.
Stay away from my niece.
Fine. Who the hell's your niece?
Cammy.
Oh, shit. Didn't like that one, did you, Marcel?
The harvest ritual. You said you didn't believe in it. Were you right?
No, I saw it with my own eyes. It was working.
So how can you be so sure Sabine's vision isn't?
Good point. Why would the hybrid baby? Well, can you call it a hybrid baby? Because does it have access to all of the abilities? Because we found out last episode it has access to vampire abilities, and it's also going to have access to werewolf abilities from Haley. But will it also have a witch bloodline? Because that comes from Klaus as well, from his mother. So is it a hybrid or is it a culmination of all 3? But yeah, why would that baby being born and existing in the world result in the end of the witches in New Orleans?
You will not take Davina from me. End of story.
The strong always take from the weak.
Oh, if you were so strong, you wouldn't have run away from New Orleans like a little bitch all those years ago.
Those are fighting words, mate.
I can take Davina anytime I like.
Elijah?
Do forgive me, Marcel.
Nice.
I don't care if we have to get you a leash. That was your last trip to the bayou.
A leash.
If you ask me, family's a pain in the behind. And as for being in it alone, how dare you? I don't ruin a perfectly fabulous pair of boots traipsing through the bayou for just anyone.
Aww. It's kind of like Haley's been brought into their family. It's really cute.
Finally, what?
Aww. Aww. Stop. They're so cute.
Now that you're home, is your first plan to kill me, Klaus?
Excuse me. Just a moment.
Where's he going?
Question. Is there something going on between Elijah and Haley? Because that look that they both gave each other and him immediately going on wanting to talk to her. I don't know about that one.
You're back.
I'm back.
Oh, okay. That did not go the way I thought it was going to go.
Don't make promises you can't keep. Welcome home.
Damn. Bit of tension there.
Look at me. You and I are gonna find a way
to get Monique back. It'll be our little secret. We'll do it together, even if I have to slit Davina's throat myself.
This explains a lot, because I said at the start of the episode I was a bit confused as to why Sophie was suddenly with the witches and going to go after Davina, but if she's doing it to get Monique back, then of course that makes sense. Especially after her sisters died, like now it's even bigger in her mind.
We thought we'd come here to wage a war for power. This is about family.
It's always about family.
Sophie Devereaux will fight to the death. That makes her more dangerous than anyone.
Especially with her life linked to Haley. Ooh. I'm fucking loving the way this season is going. Genuinely, holy shit. I'm fucking pumped. So yes, there we have season 1, episode 5 of the originals. And like I was just saying, holy fucking shit. I'm loving this show so far. I was a little bit going into the originals. I know people had said it was good and all that, but I was holding back a little bit because spin-offs have a tendency to feel like copies of the original and worse versions of them at that. So I was a little bit hesitant, a little bit like, maybe it won't be as good, but holy fucking shit. It is on par. I won't say right now if I find it better than the Vampire Diaries, because I still have such a big link to the Vampire Diaries that it'll always be on top for me. But I don't know, who knows? Maybe the more we get into this, the more my mind will be turned. But yeah, so far, fucking incredible, and I'm loving it. Now, to get into the story itself, I've kind of discussed a lot of points throughout the episode, but to break it all down, the witch's biggest mistake in all of this was not telling the girls. I don't know how they would have gone about it, like with telling the girls, because if you tell 4 people that you are going to die, but you'll come back to life, they're not as likely to accept it as you saying that they're going to put you in a limbo and then you'll come back. You know what I mean? Like hearing death, hearing that you're going to die is a lot different. So like I do understand the witch's hesitance in doing that, but you do not go and sacrifice these 4 girls without telling them. That was your biggest mistake by far. And then what the fuck was that witch doing? Hexing, what was his name? Sean. What was she doing? She literally hexed a boy who went and killed a load of people and then killed himself. Like, is she all right in the brain? I feel like witches, out of every supernatural community, witches have always felt like the most sane ones and the ones who are most likely to do good. I'd say it goes like vampires, werewolves, witches, because vampires, they tend to be the evil ones in the story. And then werewolves, because they're hunting vampires and because they're a very pack-orientated group, it comes across as though they're a lot more aggressive. Whereas then you get down to witches and they're literally like the antithesis of nature. They're the ones who keep the balance. So you trust them a lot more and you have more faith in them. But the more we're getting into this show, the more it's kind of being more realistic towards the witches, and it's showing that there are extremist witches. There are witches who will do bad because they think that they're doing good. And it's just another fascinating aspect to explore, because it'll never be black and white. It'll never be vampires are bad, witches are good. There's always going to be people who fall on either side. So yes, I believe that I've covered most of the main points while we were watching the episode, so I don't have a lot to discuss, but I do think that there was at least one Patreon question. Let me go check. Okay, so we do have one. It's more of a broad question. We have, are you enjoying the show so far, and how do you feel about Klaus having a child? To touch on the first point, am I enjoying the show so far? Fucking loving it. It is truly living up to the Vampire Diaries name, but not just that, it's kind of already found its own footing. It feels like a different show. It feels like a completely separate thing to the Vampire Diaries, while obviously still having the Vampire Diaries lore, still being in the same universe, witches, werewolves, vampires, all of that, but it feels so wholly different, and I think every aspect of it adds to that, because you're dealing with a lot older people, like we're dealing with adults here, minus Davina, of course, but we are dealing with adults, whereas the Vampire Diaries was always set in high school, in a little town, whereas this is in a city, and it's to do with all of these groups of people interacting with each other, like witches, werewolves, vampires, even humans, all kind of somewhat know about each other and are interacting with each other, which is very different from the Vampire Diaries. So I love that it feels so different, but it still lives up to the Vampire Diaries name, you know? And then the second part of that question, how do I feel about Klaus having a child? I don't know. I don't know how I feel in regards to Klaus having a child. I've more so seen this baby as like the Michelson family baby. Like, I want to see how having this baby will impact Elijah, will impact Rebecca. I haven't really thought about Klaus. I do think it will change him. I do think that it'll make him a much better person than he is right now. So yeah, in that regard, I am looking forward to the baby and how it's going to affect him, but still a long way down the road to go until we get the baby actually in the show. But yes, anyway, with all that said, that was another fantastic episode of the originals, and I am so fucking excited to be getting more into it. But yes, thank you very much for watching. I've left a link down below to my Patreon. You'll be able to find the early and uncut reactions to the originals and all the other shows that I do. I've also left a link to my Twitch, my Discord, and my socials, so be sure to follow them if you are interested. And yes, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.